We've filmed over 70 van tours over the past couple of years, and we've seen a lot of great ideas and ways of doing things. And I thought it would be interesting to take a look at solar setups. We're gonna find out what the most common solar setup is among van lifers. And just a heads up, this isn't a technical video on how to set up your solar. So first up, what I did was I took a look at all 70 of the tours we made, and I wrote down what each solar setup had in terms of a wattage value. Now, out of all 70 of them, the highest we had was 800 watts of solar. Now, obviously that was on a bus build, so they had a little bit more real estate on the roof going on. The smallest value that we had for a solar setup was 0 watts. We had more than one rig that had no solar, and the reason being that these people didn't find it valuable to have solar where they lived because there wasn't a lot of sun all the time. Now that's really useful to think about because automatically I just think that most rigs have solar, but they really don't. Next up, I wanted to find the average solar setup for all 70 rigs, and that was 270 watts of solar. Now that sounds about right because looking at the list, there's mostly between 200 and 300 watts of solar in most cases. So what does 270 watts really mean for you? Well, in our experience, we have about 200 watts of solar on the top of our van. And that isn't enough for us. We live off-grid year-round, and you can see it's wintertime here in Canada at the moment. You don't get that much sun. So what I ended up doing was I added an extra 400 watts of solar in the vicinity of where we park up. So we just plug into it and we get a combined effort of 600 watts. If you want to see more on that, you can take a look at our personal YouTube channel below. So is 600 watts even enough for you? Well, it depends. For us, it isn't enough just because we're running our inverter all the time. We have our internet on all throughout the day. We're working on our computers all day. It really isn't enough for us. Will it be enough for you? It might be. You might go far beyond with 600 watts of solar and you might be okay. The question, is it the right amount of solar for you, is a really hard one to answer. Now stay tuned though, because we're going to be taking a look at battery systems as well from all 70 of those tours. We're going to see what the most common battery setup is. Now before we take a look at some of the interesting setups that we filmed from tours, I did want to mention that there's 3 types of different solar panels. There's monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and thin film. Now I'm going to keep this super simple and not technical. So basically, monocrystalline is the most efficient solar panel you can get. It'll give you the most wattage bang for buck. Polycrystalline is a little bit cheaper because it's not as efficient. And then thin film is somewhere in the middle. It's not as efficient as monocrystalline, but it is a really useful product because you can fit it in some different spaces than you can with traditional solar panels. The other thing you can do is mount your solar panels in a really interesting way. Take a look at Cammie's solar rack, for example.
Hi, my name is Cammie and I live full-time in my 2016 Ford Transit van, which is Monica. Cool, so Monica is a 2016 Transit. I've got a medium roof and it's a 148 wheelbase. Monica has a cool deck on the top. It's a really nice spot for sunset and beer. I also have an awning and 2 solar panels that lifts up for 525 watts of solar, which is a big amount. And also at the back, I have a wonderful feature. It's a hammock rack, which is also really wonderful to admire the view.
I think Cammie's idea of tilting up your solar panels is a really great one, especially in winter months where you can angle your solar panels perpendicular to the sun and really get the most out of your charging capacity. So it's a really great idea. And then obviously the most common solar setup that we've seen is when the solar panels are mounted flush to the top of the roof. And we're going to take a look at Rob and Jan's build because they really maximized how much solar they were getting from their build.
Hi, we are Rob and Jan Can Van on YouTube and Instagram. And this is our van. Ramona.
On the top, we have an aluminum roof rack that was built out of 3-inch angle aluminum, and we put in a 52-inch curved light bar on the front. There are 2 house solar panels from Canadian Solar that are 330 watts apiece. And we have also put 2 Max Air fans on the ceiling, and we have a WeBoost on the back.
So what can you take away from all this? Basically what I pass on to you is the more solar, the better. Even if you have a small amount of battery capacity, if you can fit in more solar with your charge controller, the better off you're gonna be, especially in winter months if you live somewhere like we do. The other thing is go with a monocrystalline. They're gonna be the most efficient, especially with a small amount of real estate that you've got on your van. Go with something that is higher efficiency that you're gonna get the most bang for your buck out of. I'm also interested to hear what you guys have on your builds or what you're planning to put on your builds. Make sure to comment below and let us know how much wattage you have or you're planning to put. And that's all I have for you for this week for our solar panel setups. If you haven't yet seen Cammie's build, make sure you do, because not only is her solar rack interesting, but the rest of her build is super beautiful. And until next time, safe travels.